I kindly request the Chief Guest of our day, Honorable Shri C.V. Shankarji, to please make a keynote address.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I can't match the spirit of this guy in terms of pepping up the energy levels. It's a very good morning to all of you. I am very happy that I'm in the midst of so many dynamic entrepreneurs who have created the wealth for the country. When I was requested that I should be the chief guest for this morning's function, I did not realize that we'll be getting such a good response from so many parts of the country, probably from some parts of the world also. The Business Enclave, it has the objective of connect fellowship and business. I'm just breaking up the three words. Almost all of them, in our opinion, are very important. We find that in the beginning of probably the 17th century, India's GDP was 25% of the world's GDP. Nobody was as advanced as we were at that point of time. Even today, whether you travel north or south or east or west, you see the enormous achievements made by our forefathers, whether it was metallurgy, what is seen by that iron pillar near Qutub Minar, or whether it is the massive palaces and fortresses which we see in Rajasthan, or whether we see the intricate marble work in Mount Abu, or the enormous temples, the Tanjavur temple, the Rameshwaram temple, the Tiruvannamalai temple and many other temples in Tamil Nadu, the Sun temple at Konark, the Ellora caves, the Ajanta caves, and many of these things, they point out to a very high level of sophistication in our nation. Even today, when we look at the Vedas, the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita and so many other literature works, we are amazed at the complexity of the mind in those days. I'm still not able to understand what the kind of philosophy of Shankara or Ramanuja or anybody else. It's very difficult for us at this age to comprehend the kind of complex mind structure which our ancestors had. I'm saying all this only to reiterate the point that has been made often, that India is still not reached its potential. When we compare the other nations, whether it is the European nations, of course, they had some history, but we do have stories of the European merchants traveling all over the world to find us. Whether it was Columbus or Vasco da Gama or anybody else, they were going around the world. Their adventures were initiated and the adventures started because of their interest in linking up with India. Recently, we had the occasion to travel to some of the eastern countries, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore and other countries. For example, Korea, one of the royal lineage, the princess was from Tamil Nadu, that's what they're saying. Similarly, in Kampuchea or in Indonesia, you hear stories of people from India having gone there in the earlier days, and they are part of the royal families there. The Kampuchean king is supposed to have been originally linked with the royal families from India. Similar stories from Odisha, the coast of Odisha, etc. are also seen. The country was great, and the country is becoming great in our opinion. In terms of its human potential, it is unmatched. In terms of the Indian diaspora which is there all over the world, we can see the contribution they are making, whether it is in the field of medicine or engineering or software or high-end aeronautics or whatever. Increasingly large number of Indians are getting into these kinds of institutions. We see the Indian CEOs in many of the companies, whether it is Microsoft or whether it is Google or any other company, PepsiCo and many others. We find that the Indian entrepreneurs, the Indian CEOs, they have shown themselves to be as good, if not better than the counterparts in the rest of the countries. Anybody who has traveled abroad would immediately realize that we lack nothing. Our country has everything that way, whether it is agroclimatic zones, or whether it is the richness of the soil, or mighty rivers, vast sea coast, snow-capped mountains. What is not here in India? Almost everything is here. But what is not allowing us to grow forward is probably lack of unity. That is what probably I think your message is, in terms of the fellowship, in terms of connecting people. And I'm very happy that M-Circle, the youngsters who are associated with this, they are able to think big and bring people together. This kind of networking is very important. This kind of networking is what helps us in going forward. I would like to dwell for a few minutes on the Global Investors Meet which Tamil Nadu government is planning to host on May 23rd and 24th of this year. Tamil Nadu is, many of you will be personally aware also, Tamil Nadu is one of the most highly industrialized states in the country. In terms of the state's gross domestic product, which is comprising of agriculture, services and industry, Tamil Nadu is next only to Maharashtra. Maharashtra is twice the size of Tamil Nadu in terms of population and area. Whichever sector you take, Tamil Nadu will be within the first three. If you take FDI, Tamil Nadu is number 3 after Maharashtra and the National Capital Region. The National Capital Region has the advantage of many of the companies having their headquarters there. For example, Hyundai has its headquarters in Delhi, and we do all the hard work and Delhi gets the credit. Likewise, if you look at exports, Tamil Nadu is next. Again, it is number 3. Next to Maharashtra again first, and Gujarat number 2. And Gujarat, if you remove the petrochemical sector, Tamil Nadu is number 2. If you take the number of factories, Tamil Nadu is number 1 with more than 40,000 factories. If you take the number of industrial workers, again we are number 1. If you take the number of small medium enterprises, again we are number 1. We have more than 900,000 small and medium enterprises. If you take any sector for that matter, many states can pride themselves that they are very good in infrastructure, this and that and all that. But none of the states, I can say with conviction, can match Tamil Nadu in terms of its social achievements. Whether it is social inclusion in terms of communities, which started way back in the 1920s and 30s, whether it is the infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, literacy rate, the accessibility to primary schools, the accessibility to primary health centers, you take any parameter, Tamil Nadu would be either first or second. Kerala would beat us in some of these parameters, but we are number 2. We are not far behind. Why I am saying that is, as they say in cricket, Tamil Nadu is an all-rounder state. whether it is the brick and mortar manufacturing, whether it is the techie-dominated software industry, or whether it is upcoming sectors like biotech, aerospace, etc., Tamil Nadu has led in many fronts. In fact, I keep repeating this point in many of the audiences. Tamil Nadu is the only state in India which has produced 3 Nobel laureates in science. We have Nobel laureates in economics, literature, etc. from other states, but in science, this is the only state which has 3 Nobel laureates. We have a large number of engineering colleges, huge number of technical personnel, the engineers and many others who are coming out of our colleges and schools. We have an excellent road connectivity system thanks to the Golden Quadrilateral and many other schemes. We have 3 ports, major ports in Chennai itself, 2 run by the government, Madras Port, the Kamarajar Port, that is Ennore Port, and 1 private sector port run by L&T Kattupalli. We have 1 more major port in Tuticorin. Tamil Nadu is again the only state which has 4 international airports, Madurai, Coimbatore, Trichy and Chennai. We are linked to more than 20 countries, a long coastline, 1076 kilometers, a huge talent pool, and a very, very strong business-friendly environment. If I tell you that there are more than 3,000 foreign companies in Tamil Nadu, many of you might find it difficult to believe, but that is the fact. Japan alone has more than 577 companies. Korea has 200 companies. A couple of days back, we had a function with the opening of the Korean Exchange Bank, the first bank branch which Korean Exchange Bank has started in India. And in that meeting, our Consul General Korea was telling me, earlier we were giving a figure of 165. He said that it has crossed 200 now. Similarly, the Germans, the American companies are more than 250 in number. French companies around 65. Automobile and auto components, probably I think Tamil Nadu is emerging as the auto hub for the country. We already had the first instance with Ford, then with Hyundai, thereafter with the Daimler, Renault, Nissan. We have the Caterpillar and other construction equipment related companies. We have the homegrown companies like Ashok Leyland, TVS and many others. And many of these companies, Mahindra and Mahindra, that World City, the first Mahindra World City was started here. There are many automobile related research institutions, whether it is run by Renault Nissan or whether it is run by the Mahindra Research Valley or by the Government of India, the NATRIP. And there are many such institutions. We produce around 30% of the automobile components in the country. Similarly, in terms of traditional industries like leather, textiles, etc. also, it is a very, very strong economy. In fact, our GDP, around 93% of our GDP is from services and industries. I know that the people from Rajasthan are a very, very entrepreneurial class. I remember during our training days, we go what is called a Bharat Darshan. And this Bharat Darshan, very specifically, our group decided that we should visit Rajasthan. And in fact, I have seen all the places there, right from Ajmer, Jaisalmer, and Jodhpur, Udaipur, etc., etc. Massive palaces, and it's completely out of the world. If anybody can say, if anybody thinks that India is a poor country, I think we should take them to Rajasthan and show them. And show them the massive palaces and the forts, the kind of work that had been done in those years. Some people may have certain difficulties with Maharajas, but we do find that every time somebody should think big like Maharajas, like your M Circle is trying to do now, and our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is trying to do for the whole of country. We visited all the places. In fact, I still have very, very fond memories of the guest houses that run by the Rajasthan Tourism Development Corporation. In fact, we still have not matched them even after 30 years, I must say. Some of the most outstanding tourist places are in Rajasthan. I'm to understand that the Rajasthan government is doing a lot in terms of the labor reforms and many other things right now. And thanks to the Delhi-Mumbai corridor, a lot of these companies have set up, Japanese companies probably in Nimrana and other places. We do understand that the competition is perking up all over the place, from Rajasthan, from Madhya Pradesh, from Chhattisgarh, from other places like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and so on. But still, we find that the intrinsic advantages and the business-friendly environment that is created by the government of Tamil Nadu under the able leadership of our Honorable Madam has provided the basis for us to launch this Global Investor Meet. I request one and all the audience who are present here to be part of the Global Investor Meet which we are planning to hold on 23rd and 24th of May this year. We have identified certain focus sectors, most of them already known, including automobiles, biotech, aerospace, renewable energy, etc. We would welcome more and more participation from the business colleagues here in terms of participating in the exhibition and also taking up plans for investment here. I would request you to talk to your colleagues, friends. If anybody is thinking of putting up any industrial unit here, we would facilitate all the clearances for them. Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu recently announced that for all the projects which are going to come up and as part of the Memorandum of Understanding with the state government for the Global Investors Meet, all the clearances would be given within 30 days. That is basically the Pollution Control and the Factories Act, the town and country planning clearances and so on and so forth. These single window clearances have always been there, but sometimes the single window clearance is only an in-principle clearance. After the initial paper is given, people will have to run around the various government offices to get the clearances. But what we are trying to do is to break that and ensure all the clearances are obtained within a period of 1 month's time. We have undertaken trips to various countries. We find a very large interest in coming to India particularly in terms of the Make in India campaign. And there were certain bottlenecks earlier in terms of power, for example. People might think that the power situation in Tamil Nadu is still not on. I would like to just end my talk with a few statistics on that. Recently you would have seen that the gap between the demand and the supply in terms of the power sector has narrowed down to 1.2%. Our Minister for Electricity was telling us in that meeting that the power demand has been going up not at the usual rate of 5 to 7% or whatever. It's 12 to 13, 14% the increases over every year. But still, in the last couple of years, the government has added about 3,100 megawatts of power capacity, which is mostly in thermal power units, a few small hydropower units, some of it in the renewable energy sector, but mostly it is the thermal power sector. And we also have had the Kudankulam nuclear power project coming on stream. The Tamil Nadu electricity utility, that is the TANGEDCO, has incurred a capex of 25,000 crores in the last three and a half years. This is a substantial investment in the crucial power sector which the state government under the leadership of Honorable Madam has done. And this is a message I would like to convey to you one and all, that in terms of the welcoming nature of our people, welcoming nature of our state, and the infrastructural and other facilities that are available in our state, we do welcome and we do find that whoever comes here prospers, whether it is the foreign companies like Hyundai or Ford or Nissan or anybody, Daimler or anybody, or the local industrialists, local entrepreneurs like you. We find that the people who come here do flourish, they prosper, they expand. So with these messages, I would thank the organizers for having given me this opportunity. Once again, I must say that I can't really match your energy, but still, I do hope that we have made some sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Shankar sir, we pledge that we shall all together, with the power of all Maheshwaris, get back Tamil Nadu not in number 3, but number 1. We shall make it large and we shall make it happen. Thank you so much, sir, for your fantastic address. This business conclave is just a step in that direction. And now I would like to request our President, Shri Ravi Ladda, to give a small token of appreciation. Thank you, sir.